Hello everyone and welcome to the Ethical Hacking and Penetration Testing course. My name is Armin Avakian and today I'm going to take you a tour in the attack called man-in-the-middle attack. In previous workshop, I've conducted a 3-hour workshop which was about a basic about ethical hacking and penetration testing, where we have talked about how people can perform social engineering, exploiting the vulnerabilities by finding them through Metasploit and many more attacks. But today I would like to only give my all information and my all time about man-in-the-middle attack, because it's a very powerful and very specific topic which needs another hour to talk about. And let's start from a basic diagram and theory to understand what man-in-the-middle attack itself is. So let's imagine this network diagram. So usually when a user, doesn't matter what kind of device it uses, either it's a device, any device, mobile device, or personal computer, laptop, doesn't matter. Anytime you try to connect to the internet and browse a specific website, let's say google.com or yahoo.com, what first happens? You type the website URL, the name of the website, the domain, and as soon as you type the domain and press enter, your link goes to the router, and the router has a specific service called domain name server, which basically takes the name you have entered already and converts it to an IP address, and the IP address goes to the specific server. So let's say I'm at the server and I have the number 1234. So what does router do? By jumping on other routers, it goes until it finds the server with the number 1234, because let's say google.com has the IP address of 1234, but in reality, if you want to check the specific address, specific IP address of some server or a domain, you can go to your command prompt, where you type your commands, basically CMD. You press enter, then here you write the command called ping and the name of the website you are trying to get the IP address of. So let's say I'm trying to get the IP address of google.com, so I will just ping google.com. And I can see I'm getting reply from this IP address, hence it means the Google server is stored in this IP address. Let me close it. Okay, so why I'm telling you this? So you basically understood the process of the communication. The server from there replies, oh yes, take my HTML, CSS and JavaScript, I have fun with it, look at it. So the device receives back from the router the HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So what does the man-in-the-middle attack do? As the name suggests, the person becomes man in the middle. And where is the middle? Where you will probably, the middle is between the router and the device. So we can assume that the hacker will be somewhere near here or here, doesn't matter, any place that is between the wireless router and the device. So basically what the man-in-the-middle attack does, it starts to analyze the traffic between the device and the wireless router. So if we talk in a more common sense, the things that can happen in real life, you can assume that two persons are talking to each other, and let's assume that the first person is the device and the second person is the router, and they are talking something about the life, or sharing some secrets, or they're talking about something, and the third person, who is the hacker, comes and stands near them, but they cannot notice them, and starts to conversation, basically eavesdrop them. He starts to analyze the conversation they are making, and trying to get the information that is valuable for the hacker, for the third person. So this scenario that I just said in real life basically happens in the virtual world. So I will show you another diagram, which I think will be more clear for you. So, okay, let me maximize it a little bit. Okay, so as you can see, this is our mobile device running app, and it's trying to connect to the wireless router. Data, receiving some data, sending pictures to the endpoint of some other mobile app device, and the router is message. And we can see that there is someone that intercepts the traffic and gets the data from the flow. See, the packet is going through air, right? And if someone has connection to the network, he or she can perform that same sending and receiving. Hence, it can listen. So, in words, maybe it sounds a little bit simple and complicated, but I'm sure you that as soon as you go deeper with me, you will understand that things are much more easier than you think. So, what happens basically? When there is, by the way, this attack can be only performed in the network you are connected to. So it's not like someone can from Australia perform the man-in-the-middle attack in, let's say, United Arab Emirates. It only happens as soon as you are connected to the same network. So if you and the hacker are connected to the same network, it's very probable that the probability is very high that you can be hacked by man-in-the-middle attack if you didn't perform the enough security measures. So, as you can see from the diagram, what the hacker, the red box or red phone server, whatever you want to call it, is the red box is the hacker. And what is it doing? It's telling the router that, oh, you know what? I'm the mobile phone. And how is it doing it? The router communicates with the devices using MAC addresses. So if I have the MAC address 1234, one time let's say I go and sleep, and someone else comes tells me, oh, you know, my name is 1234. And the router will think, okay, if you are the 1234, there is a message for you, and it gives the message to the, so let's say I have an email address of arman@gmail.com, and when someone sends an email to me, he or she sends the email on to arman@gmail.com, right? And the email address arman@gmail.com. So the Gmail server will basically say, oh, what? There is an issue. There is two armans@gmail.com. What the router will do, a router will basically send the packet either to one of them or both of them. But the problem is there cannot be the same two IP addresses at the same time. The router will basically send the one that is more active, obviously, which is managing the traffic all the time. And what the hacker will tell the mobile device that, you know what, I am the router. So basically, the hacker will confuse both the router and both the mobile devices that, you know what, for mobile device, I'm the router. For the router, I'm so all the traffic will circulate basically between the mobile device. So there will be no endpoint anymore. There will be no router and mobile device communication. There will be mobile device hacker, router mobile router hacker. So this is basically the theory part of the how the man-in-the-middle attack performs. And after becoming the man-in-the-middle attack, right now the hacker can basically see any traffic you are sending or receiving. So any packets you send, doesn't matter. It's a message, it's some attachment, some document, email, whatever. If the hacker is man-in-the-middle attack, performing man-in-the-middle attack, and he or she is already man-in-the-middle in the network, he or she can already see everything that is passing through the network. If this diagram didn't make you so much clear, I will make one for you so it will be more clear. Let's say this is the mobile phone. Sorry for my bad drawing. So let's make it more readable. That's a mobile phone. Yeah, something like this. Okay. So yeah, and let's say this is the router, right? So let's make route more router-like. So it's very horrible. Then, and the man in the middle attack basically stands right here. This is the device or the computer of the hacker. So basically, the hacker becomes the hacker between them. So all traffic passes through. If I send it back and it goes through the hacker, and if I send from the router to the mobile device, it again passes through the hacker. So so by now you have to have the foundation to understand what's the man in the middle attack itself, and now we can already start to prepare the environment. But before going to it, I would like to mention few very important things. The first one is that the crash course is highly based on educational purposes. So the things we teach here, we have no illegal purposes to do so, and we highly recommend and kind of advise that never ever do the man in the middle attack or other attacks on the devices, computers, phones that you have no authority to do so. As you saw from the theory part, it says that the man-in-the-middle attack can be performed on any device that is connected to the internet. So please be extra careful, and for that purpose, we are going to create a virtual environment in virtual box, which we will talk a little bit later, where we can perform our attacks without any issues and illegal things. So in order to start to prepare our environment, we have to download a software called VirtualBox. VirtualBox is a software that allows you to install virtual machines on it. Virtual machine is basically a computer inside in a computer. A virtual machine we refer to the computer itself, the operation system, in other words. So let's say if you want to work with a Mac operation system or Linux operation system, it's not necessary for you to uninstall your Windows or Mac OS and install the Linux. You can directly download the VirtualBox and just basically install the virtual machine on it. So what we are going to do now, we are going to download the VirtualBox. After downloading the VirtualBox, we are going to download a Windows 7 and the Kali Linux operation system. Windows 7, everyone I hope already knows what Windows 7 is. It's an operation system made from Microsoft. We are going to perform the man-in-the-middle attack on the Windows 7, which is going to be our victim. We could choose any operation system. It's not strictly, or it's not only working on Windows 7. It works on anything, as I said, that is connected to the internet. But for fast results and simplicity, let's start with Windows 7 and Kali Linux, of course, highly preferred operation system by hackers. It's an Linux-based operation system. The difference between Kali Linux and Linux is just that the Linux has already pre-installed all tools on it. Not necessarily all, but let's say at least all dependencies that we need. So why is Kali Linux so preferable compared to other operation systems? Why we are not using, let's say, Windows 10 to attack a Windows 7? We are going to use Kali Linux because most of actually the software, scripts, and hacking tools that we are going to use require some dependencies. So let's say there is an application that is written on a Python, and in order to run that Python script, there is many libraries that needed in order to run that application. In Kali Linux, the best thing about the Kali Linux, the things that usually are required are already pre-installed, and even if they are not installed, they are very easy to install compared to, let's say, Mac OS or Windows operation systems. So okay, so let's not talk too much about these things, and right forward, let's go to the download part. So we will go to Google, write VirtualBox, go to the VirtualBox website, and straight from there you can see there is in the left bar you can see the third row that there is written downloads. You go for the downloads and choose your operation system and install. The installation is very basic. There is, let's say in other words, you just need to click several times next and that's it, it's installed. Yeah, so this is the VirtualBox we are talking about. We could use VMware, but you can use VMware if you are familiar with it and you know how to use. But I personally prefer VirtualBox when I'm teaching because it's more easy to set up. Yes, so after installation of the VirtualBox, we will go to the Google and search already for the Windows 7. The download link of the Windows 7 will be uploaded in the requirements list, but if you find a hard time to download it for some reasons, you will go to the Google, you will write Windows 7 download, and the best word we know is free. Yeah, we go to the not first, of course. Yeah, softlay.net. We'll go from there. We'll scroll down a little bit, and we are interested in the 64-bit version of the Windows 7. So we'll just click download, and it will, after some time, it will directly download the Windows 7. I'm sorry. Yeah. So after that, we are going to do our next step. Already, you should have already installed the VirtualBox. So I have already installed, so I'm not going to go through the steps how to install VirtualBox. You can find it anywhere and it's very easy. So you will double click on the VirtualBox. For you, as soon as you open, it may request you some agreement and you have to agree with it, some legal stuff. And after that, you are going to click on the new. Here, by the way, there will be empty for you. There will be no virtual machines for me, but the Kali Linux already installed for me. But don't worry, we'll go everything from scratch again. So you click new in order to install a new virtual machine. So our new virtual machine is going to be a Windows 7. So the name, of course, is going to be, let's say, Wind 7. You can name it whatever you want. And the type, it's a very cool feature that makes the environment more adaptable to the operation virtual machine you are going to install on. So by default, it already selected for me Microsoft Windows or Windows 7, but it's a very flexible. Let's say you want to install a Linux operation system. If you type the name Linux, it will automatically change for you. So if I type Windows, it will change for me. So let's leave it as a Windows 7. Yeah, so you click next. Then you allocate how much random access memory you want to provide to the virtual machine you are going to use. So let's say 3000 something is pretty enough for it. So we click next. Then create virtual hard disk. This is how much memory we want to keep for the virtual machine we are going to use. So create. VDI, yes, because we are going to use an disk image. Yes, next. Dynamically allocated, yes, because let's say if 32 gigabytes of hard drive is not enough, it will not just crash, it will dynamically allocate dynamically allocate a hard drive space from the host to the virtual machine. So again, next. Create, yeah, just the final confirmation, and that's it. We have the virtual machine already set, and the only thing is left is the installation. Actually, the space for installation is already ready, so we click start. Yes, and here it asks for the ISO file that we have already downloaded, so you will click on the small folder here with an arrow, yeah, and add. So as I have downloaded it already, for me, oops, we lost, yeah, it's for me, it's here. So you just go to the destination where you have downloaded the ISO file, the Windows 7, and you click on it, choose, start. And that's it. Now the basic Windows 7 installation will start. It will start in a way that, let's say, how you will format your hard drive and install a new operation system. So imagine you are starting from the boot BIOS. So that's how it's going to work now. So it's starting the Windows, it asking for you the basic steps. So the installation is very easy. You click next, you choose the language, install now. Yeah, the setup is starting. I accept the license and terms, yeah, custom, next. So everything is basically default. We don't care about the extra features, upgrading, installing, deleting something, because we're just needed for the management of the attack and not necessary to concentrate too much on it. So we have just managed to install Windows 7 operation system, and now as you can see, yeah, it's here. And in case, I just want to add one extra thing, that in case your Windows 7 starts to lag, you see the mouse is glitching, and you see that the performance is not good as you would expect, you would go to the devices and click from there, insert guest edition CD image, and as soon as you insert it, you will go to the computer and you will find out that there is a device with removable storage, and under the devices with removable storage, you will see there is a VirtualBox guest edition. You click on it. Yeah, takes some time. Yeah, open folder to view files, and you will just install VirtualBox Windows Editions. You'll just click next, and whatever it says, you will just allow it. And after the installation will be done, it will ask you to reboot your device, your virtual machine. And as soon as you reboot, it will start to work properly. So yeah, I wanted to add that extra, so in case you face a performance issue. So for now, let's close our virtual machine. Additionally, if you are not familiar with the virtual machines, you can see it's fully a functional Windows 7 machine. You can even do you can do whatever you want. It's fully functional Windows 7. Yeah. So you can do whatever you want basically with it. So for now, let's turn off our Windows 7 operation system. Yeah, and let's start to install Kali Linux. To do that, we are going to follow the same steps as we installed Windows 7. You click New. You write here, let's say Kali Linux. You go next, as we did, and in the end, you select the ISO file. But many people have faced an issue with an ISO file, so that's why I want to include an OVA file, which is click once and run. So something like this, yeah. So you don't need to install the ISO file. So there is two types actually of a virtual machine. One is install, so you just replace it in a virtual box. It is more lengthy in the manner of sizes than the ISO, but is already installed one, and the ISO file which you install from zero. I found a Kali Linux already made OVA file by Cybersecurity.com, if I'm not wrong. It's sponsored by Zaid Sabi. He's a very good instructor in Udemy for ethical hacking. Yeah, so yeah, I got from there. So you don't need to install it from scratch. So what you need to do, you just basically download from the link I will provide in the requirements list. So you will get a file like this, Kali 2020 64 customized by zsecurity.ova. So you will just only need, and as you can see, it's already recognized by VirtualBox as a virtual machine. So you will double click on it. and it will just give you a requirement list. So the name will be like this. You can customize the name as you want, like let's say it's Kali 2020. Yeah, description, modified image of Kali, Debian, the RAM. You can select the RAM you want, the amount of RAM. It will support DVD, USB control, sound control, network. Yeah, and everything is there. We'll just click on import, and it will take some time, like around 2 minutes, 5 minutes, depending on your operation system. So my installation process or insertion process already finished. So let's click start on Kali 2020. Click start, and let's wait until it opens. I hope my screen is capturing this. So let me make like this. So yeah. So it will take some time. The first time, usually it turns on a little bit slower. So let's wait until it opens. So just the logo of Kali Linux. And if you have used Kali Linux before, you will notice that there is many changes on the graphical user interface and everything. And there is one thing very important I would like to mention. If you download the Kali Linux 2020 from some other source, the latest version, there will be no username and password of root and tour, which is basically an access for the root. There will be the username and password will be just Kali, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it will be Kali. So it's why I use the customized version, because if you are using the standard version, they excluded the root access from the Kali Linux. So every time you want to perform some action, you have to write sudo to get the permission. But in this one, the modified version, the root user is back again, and you don't need anymore to write sudo. So the default username for older versions of Kali's and the customized version is the username is root, and the password is the reverse of the word root. So TOORR. So again, so yeah, here is the graphical user interface of Kali. It looks pretty much similar to the Linux operation system. It has some features of the Mac OS also. So yeah, so this is the Kali Linux. So the first thing I would like to say that compared to Windows operation system, it is more based on the terminal. So if you're familiar with the CMD of the Windows operation system, it is same as the CMD. So yeah, in order to access the terminal of the Kali Linux and start to practice, you will see on the left side there is a terminal. Yeah, and here is it. You can type commands. Let's say you want to know your current directory, you can write pwd, and we are currently in the root directory. In order to see what's inside the root directory, you can use the command from the Windows dir or ls to show everything. If you want to navigate to the desktop, you write cd desktop. Yeah, so, and there will be nothing in the desktop. Yeah. Oops, sorry, misclicked. yeah, but as I clicked, I will tell you one thing. The Terminator is another fancy tool that I like to use very much. It's pre-installed in the customized version by Zaid. So what's the difference between Terminal and Terminator? Is that, let's say you want, usually when we perform the man-in-the-middle tag, you will notice, we'll use the Terminator, you'll notice that we need two windows at the same time, so we can see both the windows. Actually, it makes like similar like people use nowadays, two monitors. So let's say if I want to, in one window, ping google.com, in other window, let's say extract information from Google, I can just right click, split horizontally, and I'll type some other command here. That's the cool case that you cannot do with the standard terminal. You can obviously click new tab and go for here, but it will be it will not be visible for you. So yeah, that's the cool feature about the Terminator. So let me get a little bit make for you familiar with the Kali Linux. There is a tab called Applications, and here is the pre-installed applications that are very cool. If you're familiar with it, you can know how to perform them. There is an information gathering tools that you can gather information about the website, and NetDiscover and Nmap that are just two tools actually about discovering cool nodes that are connected to your network. So what phone, computer, what is connected to your network, what's their IP address, what's the traffic they are flowing, what's the ports they have, what's the open ports, filter port, and etc. Vulnerability analysis, web application, password attacks used for cracking passwords, a very cool attack, wireless attacks that are used for hacking Wi-Fi. So let's say you have the authority and the contract to penetrate and test a company. So you have the authority, but you are actually attacking in a black box. The black box means the company came to you saying, "Oh, hack our company. We will give you nothing." So what you start to do the first is, of course, hack the Wi-Fi to get inside the network, and after getting inside the network, then you start to perform man-in-the-middle attack. Because if you are not inside the network, it's impossible to perform man-in-the-middle attack. Yeah, so this is Kali Linux, nothing super pooper difficult about it. Yeah, so that's it basically. So before starting to install any application inside Kali Linux, we have to perform few Linux operation system basic functions that will update the system. So in order to do that, we will go here and we'll write apd -get update. So it's going to take some time. It's going to download. It's going to download some repository information. It's going to update some of the scripts that we have inside the operation system, which will allow us to download the latest versions of the software that we are needed. So far, we managed to already install Windows 7 operation system, install Kali Linux operation system, and that's it. Yeah, in the following parts, we are going to talk about the tool that is called Bettercap, how to install the Bettercap, how to configure the Bettercap, and most importantly, how to configure the network between the virtual machines. So right now they are getting their internet connection from the host machine, right? My host machine is this Windows 10 operation system, and I'm connected to the internet. Yeah, and the virtual machines are actually sharing the same internet as I have. So you can imagine a scenario that Kali Linux is through LAN connected to my Windows 10, and my Windows 10 through LAN is connected to the, or by Wi-Fi is connected to the router. So, and the Windows 7 is also connected by LAN to my Windows 10 and to my Windows 10 to the router. But we have a scenario that Windows 10 can recognize Windows 7. Windows 10 can recognize Kali Linux. But can Kali Linux recognize Windows 7? So overall, we have three operation systems. First one is our host, Windows 10 operation system. The second one is Windows 7, our victim. And of course, finally, Kali Linux. So if you have dropped back to the networking classes you took, or you heard, or you have never heard, usually when you connect to a router, you get an IP address from the router. So if you go to CMD and beside CMD you type ipconfig, and you go a little bit down, you will see that you are sharing, you have an IP. I'm sorry. Yeah, as I'm connected by internet, I will have an IP address under the row of Ethernet adapter Ethernet. Yeah, so if you look at the IPv4 address row, you will see that there is some digits, which is obviously our IP address. So it's 192.168.0.100. So it's not our public IP address. Otherwise, I would not share it with you, because it's very dangerous to share the your public IP address with someone. But as it is local and it's dynamic, it's going to change all the time if it's not disabled from the router settings. We got this IP address. So if I take my phone and check the IP address of the phone, which is connected to the same router, I will get an IP address of, let's say, 192.168.0.26 or 134, doesn't matter, something that is between from 0 to 254. Why? Because you can look at the subnet mask. It's the limitation is till 255. This is a little bit of networking. We don't care about that too as much as because what I need from you is to understand the basic idea of IP addresses and how different nodes, different devices share the same network. So okay, as I said, I'm connected to the router with Ethernet cable and I'm getting this IP address. But if we go to the virtual box, and for demonstration purposes, I would like to just start the Kali 2020 before changing some settings. Let's start the Kali. Enter. Yeah. Okay, so I hope you remember that the default username and password is root and tour. Yeah, so if we go to the terminal and type inside the terminal ifconfig, if you have noticed that compared to the Windows operation system, CMD, in CMD we write ipconfig to check the IP address of the computer, but in Linux operation systems we write ifconfig. I don't know why people decided to do that, but anyways, you can see that I have LO, which stands for localhost, and is 1 to 127.0.0.1. That's about, we don't care now. And we see there is an HATH0. 0 stands for the first one in an array, so it's the first and only internet connection that we have, and ATH, as the initials suggest, it stands for Ethernet. So we have an Ethernet connection which gets an IP address of 10.0.2.15. Yeah, and it has the net mask of 255. But you will ask a question, obviously, yourself. If you have noticed, we are using a virtual machine, and how is this virtual machine getting an Ethernet connection? How is that even possible? That's a question that rises. And in the theory and the way that virtual machines work, they're actually sharing the Ethernet connection of the host operation system. So let's say, even if our host operation system, my Windows 10, was connected to the router internet by Wi-Fi, not by Ethernet, anyways, the virtual machine will be getting internet as if there is an ATH0. So that's why it's getting a virtually created IP address, which we can use for connecting to the internet. So let's say I want to ping something, like ping google.com. So you can see that you can see that I'm receiving packets from the google.com server, so which basically means that there is an internet connection for it. Yeah, so same happens to our Windows 7 operation system. If we go inside the Windows 7 operation system and start to ping or check our IP address, we'll see that there is an virtually created IP address. And if we try to ping from this IP address to Windows 7 IP address or from Windows 10 to Kali, it will not work properly. We will not get the result as we want. Why? Because we want to make a virtual environment as if we are sitting at home and there is 3 people in the home. One is the hacker, second and third are just random users, and they share the same network, same IP address. So in order to do that, I'm going to close the virtual machine we have. Then going to click on the virtual machine I'm interested in, click Settings, Network, and from here you can see there is an under column of adapter 1, under section of adapter 1. You can see that there is an option of attached to. We want to change this from NAT to NAT network. And you can see that I already get the name of a NAT network. So in case you don't get this, I think, if my memory is not failing me, by default you do not get the NAT network name. So to do this, it's an easy. You just go for Preferences, Network, and click the green cross here, and it will create a NAT network here. So as I already created, I'm not interested in the second one, so I will just delete it. Yes, so I will leave the one that we have. So you just click on the green arrow and it will drop you back to give you back a NAT network. Okay, so let me check, is it saved? Yes. Okay, we go back to the Windows 7. We click again, NAT network. Yes. Yes. Okay, great. So now if we rerun Kali Linux, by the way, before it runs, I would like to talk about several options we have. So what we just did now, if we click here, you can see there is NAT, bridged adapter, internal network, host, generic, NAT network, and etc. Yeah, not attached. So I would like to briefly describe what the options are, why they are used, and why we especially choose the NAT network. So if we look at the NAT, what NAT does, more accurately spelling, NAT basically gives you an internet connection, and this internet connection is limited only to your virtual machine. So you get an IP address, you are able to connect to the internet, but you cannot communicate with any device that is connected to this network because there is none. So other virtual machines are not connected to the same NAT. You are just having a tunnel to the internet through host, and you host and the internet have only connection. Other virtual machines have nothing to do with you and you cannot communicate with them. Bridged adapter, and yeah, and in NAT, as I told you, you are getting a virtual IP address. Yeah, in bridged adapter, what is happening? With the help of your host operation system, with the help of Windows 10, you are directly connecting to the router you have, and you are getting an IP address as if you are a real user. So I got an 192.168.0.100 on my Windows 10 because it's a real user, it's a real operation system, it's not a virtual machine, and it got an IP address as if it's a real user. And same happens to the virtual machine that if you put into bridged adapter mode. So, and the other one, the NAT network, which we said, what NAT is doing. NAT is basically a mixture of NAT and bridged adapter. Now we get an IP address, which is virtually created IP address. It allows you to communicate with the host. It allows you to go to the internet. And then an extra feature that is not included inside NAT, now we have a network. So what the net, as the name suggests, network, there is a net of working stations, and other nodes also can communicate with you. So in an NAT, we couldn't communicate with virtual machines such as Windows 7. Now we create a network that any virtual machine that is connected to the same NAT network, there is a virtual network that we can communicate with each other and share, send and receive packets. So click OK. Let me close this. Oh, let's hide it. So root per notifications. Yeah, so if I go to the terminal, ifconfig, you can see I got an IP address. It gave me the same IP address, but now if I go to the virtual box and turn Windows 7, so I would like now to show that how they work near each other. So let's make like this. Oops, start Windows normally. So sometimes also an external tip I would like to give you, when you're working with virtual machines, sometimes your mouse gets stuck inside the virtual machine and you cannot move it to somewhere else. So let's say if it's stuck here, you just press Control and it goes outside. So yeah, so as you can see, it detected network, that there is a network connection, it asks for you. So let's say like it's a home network. Yeah, we are at home. Okay, so if I bring these two operation systems next to each other and I go to C, and now if I go to the CMD and write ipconfig, you can see that I got an IP address of 10.0.2.4. So it's, again, it's a virtual IP address. It doesn't exist. It exists only inside the NAT network. So if I try from here to ping to this IP address, I hope it works. 0.2.4. Yes, excellent, perfect. You can see that this operation system is able to send packets to this IP address. Now let's the IP address is 10.0.2.15. So let's try from Windows 7 to send any packet and see whether it works there or no. Amazing. So you can see it is two packet sent, received, lost 0%. Excellent. So if you have reached to the moment when you can ping from one virtual machine to another virtual machine, it means you have managed successfully to set them up inside a NAT network. So as we have already managed to set our virtual machines, let's already start to talk about the program. If you are going to use the customized version of Kali Linux made by Zaid Sabih, you will have the tool already pre-installed in your Kali Linux. I highly suggest to use the customized version. Why? Because there is a versions of the tool. There's different versions of the same tool, and if you just go by internet or by the command apt-get install the tool named Bettercup, it will download and install a version that is not working. Some features are not working properly in the newer version, so I highly recommend that you use the Kali Linux by Zaid Sabih. The customized version is the latest version. Yeah, so that's just an additional I would like to say, because some people face issues with using the tool. I show some stuff in the video that is not working for some people. The reason is because some people do not follow the same installation process, and some versions are not compatible with some softwares. So either the Kali Linux is old or the software is old and it's making an issue. So better to follow this same exact way as if in the video. And now, as I'm recording, it's April 2020. So far you see here it's going to work till this current time period. Yeah. So yeah, as you can see, we have the Windows 7 and the Kali Linux. Windows 7 is completely under the security measures, so the system secure. The firewall is turned on. The antivirus is also turned on. There is an antivirus right in the Oops, misclicked. Windows Defender. Yeah, everything is fine. Yeah, it's all turned on. So great. So we have a fully secure, in the brackets of course, a Windows 7 operation system. And yeah, as I said, it's not limited to any operation system. Yeah, because the type of attack doesn't care actually. Do you have a firewall or high antivirus program? So it all depends on other measures, which we will talk in the, I think, the last part of the video, if not during the parts. So yeah, now, by not talking too much, let's get directly into the program. So in order to run the program, you write better cap. Okay, so if you run the command and you get this yellow box with the IP addresses, then great, you have achieved it. So yeah, we have the program, and as you can see, it shows the router IP address. -24 means basically that all 255 it includes, and this is our IP address. So any program actually, most of the programs in the Kali Linux, in order to understand the program, there is like few ways. Either you watch tutorial videos, second you look the documentation by yourself, or there is an extra thing that the programmers usually include inside the script software and hacking tools, is the help command, which briefly gives you an introduction about the software. So let's type help and see what we have here. So help module, list available commands or show module, specific help if no module, active, show information about active module, quit, close the session and exit. Yeah, so we have some commands here, and we have a modules, as it's written here, that we can use in our program. So what are these modules? So we have many of them, and not all of them you actually need. You need some of them, which we are going to talk about. So the first thing, when you want to use the man-in-the-middle attack, you want to understand which target actually you are going to hack. So you don't want to hack anything, right? You don't want to hack everyone and everything, right? You want to hack the specific target you're interested in, or specific, let's say you have given the authority to hack a company, right? Maybe you are interested in the HR department of the company, and in order to perform man-in-the-middle attack on HR department computers or workstations, devices, whatever, you have to understand which IP address are they following, which computers is exactly there. So the first phase of any hacking is information gathering. So in order to do that, we are going to write net.probe on. As you can see from here, there is we are going to run the module actually, net.probe net.probe. Yeah, it's not running right now, and if you want to run any module, you just write the name of the module and type on. So I will click on. As you can see, it started to detect some stuff. Let me maximize it. Actually, I think it will be more better to understand. Yeah, so it discards some endpoints, and yeah, it will not be clear right now for you. So let me make some better example and show you what exactly it means. So what does net.probe on does? Well, it turns on the module net.probe, which actually starts to discover any computers, devices, whatever it is connected to your network. So right now we are in an environment that we have made already, so we know there is only one device that is connected to our network, right? It's the victim PC, which is the Windows 7. So, but anyways, we are imagining that if we are in a real life scenario, usually if you are in a real life scenario, in this table there will be many computers, devices, and many things. Don't worry about this. This is just an whoops. Yeah, if you think it makes a mess for you, just can type clear and it will clear everything. So yeah, if I again type net.show, oops, yeah, net.show, yeah, oh, again typo, sorry for that, net.show, yeah, you can see it discovered few devices that are connected to our network. So the first one is 10.0.2.15.880. It's our computer. The second one is the gateway. We are again not interested in it. The third one is the tunnel. which will not exist in real life scenario. So we don't care about it, and we can see there is an IP address right there with the name of victim PC, and the better cop tried to guess what exactly is it, and it's guessed that it's in kind of a computer system with the name victim PC. So we know that the computer we are targeting has a name of victim-PC. Actually, the name is not necessary to be victim PC because depends how did you install the Windows 7. Maybe you put in another name and it gave you another name. So we know the IP address, right? So that's a cool. Actually, we would like to store this IP address somewhere. I will just copy it or memorize it. But usually in real life, it would be a good practice to keep a notepad or somewhere to store the information gathering reports. So again, I'm going to type help to see what else we have. So net.probe actually turned on. We did the net.recon, events.stream, and other things. So when you drive on, it directly turned on three other modules. So the second thing that we want to do is ARP spoof. ARP spoof is actually the command that does the process that we were talking about in the very first video, when we were changing the MAC addresses to trick the users to think that for the user I'm the router, for the router I'm the user. So basically that's going to happen in this module. In order to do that, we are going to write help arp.spoof, which I will hope will give us some information about a module called arp.spoof. Okay, so in order to start ARP spoof, we have to write arp.spoof on. Okay, we know about this from the previous module. Second, arp.ban. Let's read about in ban mode, meaning the target's cognitive will not work. Okay, so this is basically just a small introduction. We don't care about this. This is actually the parameters we care about. So each module expect from running and turning off. I again made a mess for me. I'm sorry about this. Just sometimes it gives you an extract information that distracts people from reading the content. So let me write again. Yeah, so this is the parameters we are interested in. Every module actually has a parameter that you can set, and ARP spoof has the following parameters. So first thing that we can directly notice is arp.spoof.targets. So in target we put the IP address or the MAC address of the device that we are interested in. So as you remember, we are interested in the Windows 7 operation system, which has the IP address of 10.0.2.4. So we are going to do set to set the parameter arp.spoof.targets and the IP address 10.0.2.4. Yes, so target is set to the IP address 10.0.2.4. You can put the IP range. It's not necessary to be in a one IP address. You can just put a delimiter between the IP addresses, and it will work perfectly. As you can see, it's even the word target is in a plural way. Yeah. The second thing, one of the most important things, is turning on the full duplex. So what full duplex means? As we are going to trick the user to think that we are a router, we don't have an internet connection, right? Which the user and the router share. So the full duplex means that the internet is going to pass through us. It's not going to come to reach our doors and say, oh no, we got the IP, we got what you are looking for. Goodbye. We will not give you internet. It will look suspicious. So in order to make it not suspicious, you are going to turn on arp.spoof.full-duplex. So again, we are going to say set arp.spoof. Actually, you don't need to type the command fully. As soon as you write arp.sp and click tab, it will directly autocomplete for you. So I will write full and again autocomplete, and this time we are going to put it true because by default it's false. So if it's false, it means the opposite of it, it's true. So we put true. Okay, that's it. Now let's press again help. Yes, we set the commands. Now let's run the ARP spoof. So ARP spoof on. Okay, we have started to ARP started probing one target. It found that we are probing a one target. Again, we write help. We can see that our ARP spoof is running on. So there is no issues so far. Yeah, I hope there will not be in the future also. So, and the last step that we are interested in is turning on net.sniff. As soon as we start to turn on the net.sniff, it's actually going to sniff, as the name suggests, the traffic that Windows 7 tries to access. Sorry, yeah, so to do that again, as all the modules we do, we write net.sniff on. Okay, you can see directly there is popping up things. You can see there is in the Windows update.com download, and this is actually the website that the Windows 7 is trying to access all the time. You can see there is some Windows update websites are coming out. This is very normal because why? We just installed the Windows 7 and Windows 7 is trying to access some Windows updates. You can see it's all the time downloading Windows updates, so it's trying to update itself. But okay, it's not showing anything here, of course. And yeah, you can see Windows will install updates as scheduled. So you basically from far away you can follow what activities are going inside the victim you are interested in. So if I go to Internet Explorer now, and let's go to google.com. Let's see what's going on. You can see that the victim PC tried to access google.com. Wow, that's cool, I think, right? We can see that the window it's going to it's went to google.com. So he actually typed google.com. So we managed to capture that information. Now let's do something more interesting. Oh, it's going to take a little bit time. Oops, no internet connection. Let me check that. I'm not sure what the issue was. Sorry for the pause. It just didn't give me any reason, and it's just started to work. Maybe some cause of problem. So let me set Google in the English mode. Okay, so we are in the Windows 7. Let me bring it back here so it will be more clear for us. Yeah, so let's go search for some website. Let's get a list for HTTP websites. Okay, so I'm just randomly looking for an HTTP website. Okay, so you can see there is many websites. Let's go any of them. Let's say wewill.com. Yeah, for example, wewill.com, and we have managed to enter the wewill.com, and let's go inside our Kali Linux and see what's going on. So we see again the updates are going on all the time, but we are not interested in the updates. We know that it's getting updated already 100 times, but we are interested. This is actually log, okay? So we are going to analyze the log and see what happened here and trying to search for the wewill.com. So in the future videos, I will show you a better example where you will be able to find a specific website from this mess. So you can see it's a mess. So yeah, I just have turned off the Windows update, so it will make our thing more easier. Actually, I would like to show you the way you turn off Windows updates in case you're interested. We will do it together. So you go to services. Yeah, let me maximize it. Okay, buddy, this guy wants to play. Yeah, Windows update. Let's look for it. So yeah, Windows update. So you can see it's starting all the time. Maybe it makes even your processor power a little bit slower. So actually, it's the best case is to turn off Windows update in any operation system you are going to do the update itself, because it's going to slow down the process. You're not interested in the updates, you're just interested in the operation system itself for test. So that's why we'll turn it off. So anyways, If you even don't turn off the Windows Update, don't worry about it. We're going to use a tool called Wireshark in the future videos. And while we were going to use Wireshark, we will not care anymore about how many logs there are, because we will have a specific filter and a search bar which will help us to find the information we are interested more easily. So okay, and you click here disabled, apply, okay. So let me close this now. Let me close Internet Explorer also, bring it here. Yeah, I'll just clear it here. Okay, still getting some stuff. It's already turned off, but it's getting the things that it already was going. So yeah, let's go to the Google again and search for a HTTP website. Nope, thank you. Okay, so let's stop here before it goes to the long mess. Okay, so from the Kali Linux you can see that the user we are interested in just accessed scratchpads.eu. So as you can see from the Windows 7, this is the website we actually asked and entered. So this is actually very too much information about the user. Imagine the user accesses to the websites that is a personal and confidential, and you're getting the website he's accessing. So this is not only limited to this. I will show you more cool stuff that will surprise many of you. So let's go any of this. Let's say I would like to get a website that actually has a login and password section. Do you have any? Let us for now maximize. So we'll search any website with the login and password section. So because we are interested to grab some cool information about the user, such as login and password. Oh, okay, so none of you have a login and password. Okay, so for my surprise, I didn't find any website with the login and password section, but if you manage to find any HTTP website with the login and password section, you can try the same thing and it'll work, I'm sure. So let's say I found a place where we can enter some credentials. For example, this is a website that is running on HTTP. Be sure it's not HTTPS. It must be HTTP. In future videos, we'll talk about the Wireshark, how to analyze this mess, and how to do the same attack on Facebook, Gmail, and pretty any website that is running on HTTPS. So for example, here if I write, let's say Armen, my email address, gmail.com, and let's imagine here was the password section, and I will write the password 123456. So, and this message here, and let's make the YDT. Okay, send message. As you can see, as soon as we clicked, the captcha was not correct, but anyways, we don't care about the captcha. As soon as we click the button send, we got a lot of logs. And if we scroll up a little bit, we can see there is a highlighted, strictly highlighted with a bold red color. You can see that there is an information that we can read to discover what is it. And you can see it's actually the same thing that we just add. The name as an Armen, mail as an DAS at gmail.com, subject 123456. So it successfully managed to capture not only the website but also the credentials and information that you have just posted inside that website. So basically you stole the data from the user. So okay, so let's already go on for the most interesting part, where we are going to talk about why we have used HTTP, not HTTPS, and how we can bypass that restriction and security. So man-in-the-middle attack has a long time history. It's not a new attack. So before the HTTPS came out, there was only HTTP, which stands for Hyper Transfer Text Protocol. So it's the protocol that allows us to send and receive the HTML. But it was not secure enough. So people, especially hackers, have managed to find and use the attack called man-in-the-middle attack to grab all the credentials, information, and HTML tags that they are interested in from users that they are not authorized to do so. And security professionals come up with the idea that what if we encrypt the credentials that are going to be sent from the user to the access point, or from the access point to the user. So they managed to create a protocol that they called HTTPS. So this S stands for security, so Hypertransfer Text Protocol Security. So this security measurement encrypts the packets that are sent, and these packets get decrypted at the endpoint. So basically, what happens? As soon as we just send the name, the password, the email, this data in HTTP website gets collected and posted to the server of the website, and that's it. So it jumps through the hops till it reaches through the routers to the hops till it reaches to the server. But the same thing happens in the HTTPS, but in this case, as soon as you click the post button, it gets encrypted. So before it reaches to the access point or through man-in-the-middle access point, it is encrypted. So anyways, in the log, you receive this name, username, password, and so on, whatever. But now it's an encrypted with AES. So you basically get a gibberish, which you cannot understand. So this is the thing that is done by HTTPS, which is a good security measure. It's still very relevant. Most like 90%, 99% of the companies use it in order to avoid the man-in-the-middle attack. But there are some steps that you can do in order to bypass HTTPS. But not HSTS, which we'll talk a little bit later. HSTS is a more stricter protocol that is kind of an addition to HTTPS for completely avoiding the man-in-the-middle attack. But there is one more, again, solution for it, which we'll talk about. Just wanted to give you briefly the things we are going to do now. So, in order to bypass HTTPS and HSTS, in the Kali Linux, we have to turn on one extra module that again is provided by Zaid Sabih, which you can do just by typing HS and tab autocomplete. Tab to autocomplete. So as soon as you autocomplete, it will give you HSTS hijack, HSTS hijack, /HSTS hijack. Yeah. So you click enter. For me, it will say module http.proxy is already running, but for you, it will give you it will give you the values and everything that it is enabled, and you can, and again, it will give you the text box to type things out. So yeah, this is the way you turn on the HTTPS and HSTS bypass. So now there's some things that you have to consider in order to bypass HTTPS. What does it do? In order to bypass HTTPS, you have to go basically for an HTTPS website. And anytime you go to the website, you will have a look at the up place, whether your website you are currently running is HTTP or no. Of course, you are the hacker, you don't know the user is saying what, but for educational purposes, in order to know whether you are running HTTP or HTTPS, you just look in the URL bar. So you can see that msn.com is running on the HTTP. So basically anything I type and do in this place, it will show us here. So if we'll have a look at the log, you can see it's going a lot of information here. So now what I will do, I will go to a Google. If I go to google.com, you can see that my google.com is running on HTTP, but in reality it should not be like this. If I go from my host to google.com, so this is my host, if I go google.com, you will notice that the website is running actually on HTTPS. The sign of the lock means that the website is running on HTTPS, but for our surprise, you can see that there is an HTTP, which basically means that the website is not secure. The website is not encrypted. And I'm sure most of the people do not look even up to see whether the website is running on HTTP or HTTPS. And now if I type here, oops, yeah, if I type here anything, everything that I get from this Google search will not be encrypted. And this is the trick that we are going to use. So as you can see, as I'm doing the video from United Arab Emirates, the Google is running on the Arabic version of the Google, which is for some reason is not running on HTTPS. If I run the United States version or UK version, it will be in the on the encrypted version. So some versions of Google, such as Russian, Irish, Arabic, United Arab Emirates version, and many other countries are not running the encrypted version. So if you are trying to perform this attack in the United States, it will probably not work. But if you are sitting in another country and you want to make a penetration testing on the company, you can prove that the company will face an issue if some hacker manages to perform this. So right now, if I type, let's say, Facebook, okay, so you can see still I am on the HTTP. It's good for a hacker, of course. And you can see that it gave me the Facebook, and here we are interested in the facebook.com, and you can see here it's saying https ://facebook.com, and there is https. Please be sure to see the https there. Don't worry about it. As soon as we click on it, the Internet Explorer was giving some error, and it was related to my internet connection. So I just downloaded the Google Chrome, which I suggest for everyone, so it will be more clear for you, because in all browsers it's hard to figure out things. So okay, the same thing. We went to Google, the Arabic version of the Google, or any other country version you would like to try. You can experiment with it. So I wrote Facebook, and if I scroll down, I click on the Facebook login. You can see that it transferred me to a eligible facebook.com page. You can see there is the en-gb, just a substitute of a Facebook page. But if you did, the website also looks pretty legitimate. You can see that everything is fine, but you will notice one thing if you look, pay attention closely, that actually the website URL is not facebook.com, it's facebook.com. This part of website, which you see, maybe it's new to you, but it's pretty legitimate. There is nothing to do about this. But this part is very suspicious. If you look, it's like corn, but from far it looks like the letter M. But in reality, it's written facebook.com. It sounds funny, I know, but this is actually an attack that many people get fooled. So if I go back, I would like to show you that it's not necessary for it. You can see it's here written not secure because it's running on HTTP. If I click on facebook.home, yeah, for example, this website about facebook.com, you can see it got transferred also again to an HTTP website. So everything here gets transferred to a HTTP website. If we go back and let's try something else. For example, let's see how it works. It's not going to work all the time because the security professionals from the other side are trying to cover these attacks. But let's try to target Twitter. Okay, so let's open several Twitters. This one, this one, this one, and this one. Let's see which one of them works. So this one, you can see Twitter is actually working. It got again twitter.com. So this is the official one of the login of Twitter. I just write Twitter, click, and I get an official, the Arabic version. So if I type here like Arman and password 12345 and click here, you can see from here that I went to the google.ie, which is the Irish version of the Google. Yeah, And let's try to see whether we can find any username and password here. So it's a little bit a process of a headache, but you can see that we got twink.com. It's passing through the websites, and you can see here even we got a twitter.com. It gave us an error that the login and password were not correct. So that's all already in a result that we managed to see that the user trying to enter twitter.com. And if we scroll up, let's see whether we can find something related to. Actually, the color must be red. If bypass equals yes. Okay, so you can see pretty that we have managed to find the twitter.com, but so far to find the password inside this kind of environment is very, very hard. So what we are going to do, we are going to use a tool called Wireshark. In order to run the Wireshark, we can go to the applications, type Wireshark, turn it on, and you can see that there is a lot of data in 880. As I said, the traffic is going to pass through our network. It's going to everything the user victim asks from the router, it passes through our network, and then it passes through us, then it goes to the access point. So that's why there is a lot of traffic generated in 880, even if we didn't access any browser. So let's click on it. Okay, so it's going to analyze all the time. So yeah, this is the tool basically. I know it looks a mess, and it looks similar to the thing that we were going to do, we were doing, but now we have a very cool feature, which is a filter that we can type different commands, and if you click on this small button here, it gives you a good help or a cheat sheet for the commands that you can execute. For example, if you click on this one, it will only show the TCP packets that you have. If you click, yeah, and you have to click search, yeah, and if you click, for example, UDP, it will show you only the packets that are went through UDP. So it's a pretty very good feature and very helpful. You can use it on almost anything, or for example, let's say you are targeting multiple clients, you have multiple man-in-the-middle attacks, and each one has its own IP address, but you don't want to see, imagine if right now you are getting so much data from one target. What will happen if you have 3 or 4 targets? It will be like just impossible just to read one word, one password from all the data. So for example, you can, in order to avoid it, you can avoid it by typing the specific IP address. For example, let me try to find that. There have to be a command that only gives you, yeah, for example, ip.addr equals to, and the IP address that you are interested in. For example, in our case, we are interested in 10.0.2.4, right? So I'll write 10.2, oh, sorry, 10.2.0.2.4. So if I click search, you can see that it gives me only the IP addresses that are related to this. So you can see that source is from here, destination is there. So let me just briefly explain the table. So here we have the source from where the packet goes, the destination of where the packet reaches. So in this case, if I'm not wrong, this is the IP address of the Google. So from here, the IP address 10.0.2.4 sends a packet from this source to the destination IP address called 172.217.19.14, and it's sending a TCP packet, and there is some extra information about the TCP packet. But that's cool, right? That's a lot of data, but we are not interested in the numbers. We are interested in text string. So in order to find the text string, I'm going to erase this, and I'm going to put an filter that only shows the HTTP packets. So why HTTP? Because as you remember from HTTPS and HSTS, we downgraded to HTTP. So we only want to see the HTTP ones. So okay, if we click HTTP, let me maximize it for you. Yeah, let me bring it down. You can see there is like not much. There is so it's better to understand. Also, you can click to sort which destination you want. So you can see this is the google.com. We send some packets to google.com. If you click on it, you will get more information from here. So it is a redirector kind of if I'm not wrong, you can see there is even a Microsoft written down there. So it's kind of a redirector that directed you to the particular website. You can read much more information out of there. So yeah, there is many packets. Also from this IP address we go back to here. From this IP address we go back to there. There's some bunch of different IP addresses. Yeah, so okay, the next thing that we are going to do is actually search, which we are going to cover in the next part, and I think the final part of the video, where we are going to talk about the search function to find the string and security measurements that we can implement in order to avoid this. So yeah, let's repeat the basic steps. So we perform the man-in-the-middle attack on the Windows 7 machine. Then yeah, we turn on the HSTS hijack, which will downgrade HTTPS from HTTPS to HTTP. So yeah, we are turning, in case in the last video it was already pre-turned for me, didn't show anything, but if you see the following window, the following output from the terminal, it means that it is working already. So as you can see, in order to bypass HSTS, we're going to perform a DNS spoofing. If some of you doesn't know what means DNS spoofing, basically first you have to understand what means DNS. DNS stands for domain name server. So what is domain name server doing? Usually domain name server is stored in the router, and there is a global one and there is an internal one. And we are targeting the internal one. So what domain name server does? Let's say you want to access a google.com. So you type on your browser URL google.com, right? And as soon as you type this packet goes to the router, and router transfers your google.com into an IP address, so which will be recognizable by other computers. So basically in order to communicate with the users, we use letters. When we want to communicate with the servers and routers, we need an IP address. So there is a URL and there is an IP address. We type the letters get converted to numbers. Numbers are going to be searched all over the world to find the correct server, then receive the packet back. So what we are going to do, we are going to change the facebook.com IP address to 10.0.2.15. So as soon as someone from google.com or specifically a Google that is not supported by HTTPS tries to access facebook.com or any other website, this facebook.com gets converted to a different IP address, which is ours, which is our attacker machine, and it tricks the user to think this is facebook.com, but in reality it is facebook.corn. So everything inside gets mixed. That's the trick that we are using in order to bypass HSTS and downgrade it to HTTP. So yeah, let's try one more time the same attack. So we enabled everything as we have to do. I think, yeah, I have already turned Wireshark, so I will go for 8080. I will go to Google Chrome, as I'm interested in this. Yes, you see, as soon as I clicked on the Google browser, it directly started to give me the sending and receiving packets. Actually, Wireshark is a very, very useful tool for network administrators, system analysts, security engineers. network engineers. It's not only used for tracking man-in-the-middle attack. Basically, this is one of the most popular, if not the only and the best one, to track the network, to see what kind of network traffic you have. For example, another example expect from man-in-the-middle attack that we can bring about this tool is, let's say somehow someone managed to hack your computer, and the hacker, he or she, is trying to get a picture or a text file or something from your computer to his or her own computer. So if you turn on Wireshark and you have a firewall rules, you can follow from here that from this source to this destination, let's say a TCP packet is going on the flow, or UDP packet. So you are curious why from my computer to this specific IP address there is a traffic flow. And if you do not trust this IP address, or you're suspicious and you are sure that you are not communicating with this IP address anyhow, you just block the IP address in the firewall, set as a firewall rules, so the following IP address will not be communicated with, and you will evade the malware itself. The malware will be executed on your computer, but it will not benefit anyhow to the hacker itself. So let's go to google.ie, which is the Irish version of the Google. So we are in the Google Irish version of the Google. So now I will search for the websites that, as soon as you do the HSTS hijack, it gives you a few websites that you can work with on. It's hard coded by Zaid Sabi. So for example, if our victim enters Google in Ireland, so obviously it will take him the Google that is in his country. So for example, we are in Ireland and the user types Facebook. So he will get to the login page. So for example, login to Facebook, right? So if I click here, you can see that he got redirected to facebook.com. It looks pretty legit. So let's type some email and password. For example, armen@gmail.com, and here let's type some not 1 2 3 4, let's try something like AA456. Okay, login. Okay, you can see that it's loading. So far it's loading, but you can see on the left side that we have managed to capture already the email and the password of the user. So let me maximize it for you. You can see that the password is AA456 and the email is armen@gmail.com. So congratulations, you have managed successfully to hack the person, target's Facebook email and the password. So in case, let's imagine a scenario where you are not targeting only one device, there are many devices, and you are interested each Facebook password of each device. So let's try to extract that information from the Wireshark, so there will be not a mess, because in real life scenario you will not have so much clear stuff, you will have a big data. So let's go to the Wireshark. You can see it's already managed to capture. So let's stop it, because we are sure that it already have to capture it. But it's not necessary to stop by clicking on the red square. You can make it to continue analyze. So now I will type here HTTP, because we know it got downgraded from HTTP. Okay, I will click next. And if you are familiar with the web development, anytime you type a login and password, there is two ways that browsers work. Either the browser gets something from the server, the browser and server interaction is in this way. Either the browser gets something from the server or posts something to the server. So for example, when you're trying to access facebook.com, you are getting the facebook.com's HTML, right, from the Facebook's server. When you are posting your registration email and password, or your login and password, username, password, you are posting it, you are giving it this data. So that's why you can see from the info section of the Wireshark, I hope you can see it clearly. Yeah, to see this maximizes, I hope you can see now. There is get and post section. So there is a guest requests, post requests, and many others. So we are interested only in post section because we know that our user is going to enter his Facebook email and password, so he's posting. So let's change the info sorted by post. So yeah, so you can see it's already get posted by it got sorted by post. So there is a few URLs, so we can either go one by one to search for the thing we are interested in. So you can see the origin of the post is from google.ie. So you can see that the user tried to enter facebook.com login page. Let's see whether there is any more information that we can extract from here. So let's see what he posted. So basically now we have managed already to hack the device to get the username, the password. The only thing that is left is already to scrap inside the data and try to find the login and password we are interested in. So we'll go one by one, and I hope, yep, you can see that directly on the second one we found, we have managed to find the email and password successfully. The email is armin@gmail.com and the password is AA456. Be happy to experiment with other websites such as Twitter, Facebook, Gmail, Apple, and others. Yeah, and the thing that all the time was happening, and I'm sorry for that, the reason for this is that the Google has a feature, Google Chrome has a feature that as soon as you sometime log in, go to the specific website, let's say google.com, it stores google.com inside the browser, inside your computer. So the next time you log in, next time you ask for google.com, it will bring from your previous session. So let's imagine you have not been hacked before and you have accessed google.com, and the hacker hacks you and tricks you to enter the google.com because you are going to use Google anyways, right? Not today, tomorrow you will use. So the hacker will wait. As soon as you go to the Google, he'll try to extract login and password from you. But this is not going to happen. Why? Because it already has stored the google.com inside your computer. So it's not going to bring, so your browser is not going to get the modified version of Google or Facebook. It's not going to bring you facebook.com because it has already facebook.com stored in your computer. This is called caching. So the cache is the already stored file. Sorry for my spelling. Maybe I'm so basically if I type it, it will be like this. So this is the thing that is stores inside your computer. So what I did, I just went to the history section and erased my all Chrome history from there, and that's why it started to work. But you will raise a question, if I'm going to erase the browser's data, why, how is it going to work in the real life scenario? No one is going to erase his own or her own browsing data. I will argue with it because many people will erase their browsing data, but anyways, if they didn't even erase their data, this caching property is not going to last for a long time. There is a specific time period for it. You can make the research on the Google and find how long is it going to take to keep this data. So after some period, the cache will be erased and your attack will work. So congratulations, we have passed the bad side of the course. I mean the black hat techniques. So now let's talk about how we can secure ourselves from this kind of attacks. So as I said, man-in-the-middle attack works on the ARP poisoning, ARP spoofing, and what it means is the just manipulation of MAC addresses to trick the router that I'm the user, and for the user trick that I'm the router. So this is the manipulation of MAC addresses. So in order to check whether there is problems with your MAC addresses, and there is someone whether someone is trying to do trying to perform man-in-the-middle attack. There is a few steps you can perform. First, you can go on your Windows operation systems, click Start, then type CMD. So you will go to the terminal and you will type ARP space -A. So this is going to give the all MAC addresses that are currently connected to your network. So you can see we have the 10.0.2. So this is basically the same net discover or net.probe that we performed on Kali Linux. So this is the same feature that we have here. So you can see this is all IP addresses that are connected to our network. Do not pay attention for the first and do not pay attention on the last 5-6 ones. This is virtually created. They are not related. The most important ones are the ones that start with 10 actually, or if you are in real life, it can be 172 dot something or 192.168. So you pay attention to the ones that match the pattern with your IP address. So our IP address is 10.0.2.4. Okay, and we have a MAC address, right? And in order to check our MAC address, we'll write ipconfig. Okay. Oh, and yeah. Okay, so you can see that this is our IP address. This is our default gateway, and this is our subnet mask. And there is another IP addresses. For example, 10.0.2.15. This is actually an IP address of the Kali Linux operation system. And right next to the IP address, there is the physical address, which is same as MAC address. And you can see that this device has a MAC address of 080027 B4 9403. Okay. It's not giving much for us. We are like, okay, this is the MAC address. But from the terminology and the theory part of networking classes we have learned, we know that physical addresses or IP addresses in the same network cannot be repeated. Okay, that's a good thing, but how we can implement it here? And if we pay more attention to the table we got, we can see that 10.0.2.1 has the same MAC address as 10.0.10.15. So what's happening? For the user, we are getting the trick. This specific IP address pretends that he is the router. So we have managed to find out that this specific IP address is the computer, is the workstation, is the operation system that is targeting on our computer and trying to hack us. So what we can do, we can either block this IP address, or we can put a static IP table which will not allow anyone to choose, modify, or create a new MAC address inside our network. So this is the first way. The second way that we can find out who is targeting us is called, we are going to use a tool called XARP. Why is XARP better in a way of performance than the terminal version we just showed you? Because you never know who and when is going to attack you, right? So you are browsing and you just don't know when you are going to be hacked. So you are not going to all the time check your terminal to see whether someone is hacking you or no. It's crazy, right? It's not going to work like that. Maybe someone is targeting you at night. Maybe someone is going to target you after 2 minutes. What if you have checked 2 minutes before, but the attack started 5 minutes after? So in order to avoid this and be more efficient, we can go to the Google and download a tool called XARP. In order to do that, you just go to the Google and type XARP. Let me change the Google to English version so it will be more clear for you guys if some of you do not understand Arabic. Me myself, I do not also. I just got used to use the Arabic version. So we'll type here XARP. Then we'll go to the first website we have. Oh yeah, and let me turn off the man in the middle attack, so you will see the clear difference how our software managed to detect the attack itself. So in order to do, you just type exit and clear. Here we go. Okay, so let's download that application on our Windows. Okay, we'll wait for a while. Yes, next. Yeah, next, I agree. Automatically start. Yeah, you can put it to start automatically. It's a good recommended thing. So, okay, you can see that the XARP managed to start, and you can see there is a very easy interface, I would say. There is why? Because there is a green the green thing there that shows that there is no ARP attacks. So if it's green, then it means, as the caller suggests, there is no ARP attacks. You can and here it shows the same thing that we saw in the CMD. You can see this is our IP address with our MAC address. This is IP address of the Kali Linux. Of course, if we are a user, we do not know this is the Kali Linux. We accept it as a normal user, as a user who has no thought of hacking us, because we don't know who is it. But we will talk about it a little bit later. Yeah, so this is the basic table of IP addresses and MAC addresses. Here is the security level. We can put it either high or minimal. If you are an average user, it's okay to put on a basic, but if you are too much curious about your security, you can put high, aggressive. There is other policies about it, but we are not interested in that ones now. We're interested in high and aggressive. Sorry, basic. Yeah, so we leave it as it is. Okay, so we leave as the program was installed by default. Now we can even I think we can close it. Yeah, so it will be down anyways, even if we close it. Yeah, and we can continue our browsing. So we can go to Google. You can see, even if I go to the Google Irish version, you can see it's HTTPS running, because we turned off the downgrade. So now, if I go to my Better Cup again and do the same thing, so basically start the attack. Go to for set ARP spoof full duplex to turn on the bond between router, hacker, and the user. Yeah, net.probe on, arp.spoof on. Oh, you can see directly, right? As soon as I typed arp.spoof on, as soon as I didn't even manage to complete my attack, but as soon as I typed the arp spoof on, it directly detected that the change field, the MAC address for IP 10.0.2.1, which is our router, changed from this MAC address to this MAC address. Why? Because the second MAC address we see is the MAC address of the hacker, and the first MAC address, which is 52.54.00.12.35.00, is the real MAC address of the router. But now the hacker tricked us to think that he is the router, so hence he has this MAC address. So we know that this is the MAC address, and if we go to the tool, we can see that these three are involved in the hacking process, involved in the ARP poisoning. So we can see this is the router. Router obviously cannot hack us, because router is just a router, just a modem. This is us. We will not hack ourselves. So hence this is the hacker. So we have to think about him, disconnecting from the internet. Okay, so this is the detection process. You can, in case you are working in a large company and there is many employees, you don't know which one is exactly targeting your network. You cannot disconnect some people because you don't know whose computer is being used. So this is a way to specifically find that person who is hacking you and turn him off. But what if we are located at home and or let's say what if a same example, what if we are in a big organization and we don't have an access to disconnect or connect someone? What if we don't have that access to the router to disconnect someone? What if you are in an airport, let's say, or mall, and someone you see is trying to hack you, but you do not have access to the IT services to go to delete this person from internet, to disconnect him, blah blah blah, and change the MAC address? You cannot do this just because you are a normal user. You don't have any authority. You don't have any privileges. So what's the procedure for you to defend yourself? First, the first and the best solution is using a VPN. What a VPN does, I know many people use it to bypass some websites, but this is not the purpose of the VPN. VPN provides a secure tunnel between you and the servers or the routers you are communicating with. It has a feature called IPsec, which provides security at the level of IP. It provides, in other words, in a one word, it would be just an encryption. So all the traffic you send and receive is going to be encrypted. So let's say I have the Wireshark, right? If I go to the Wireshark, I can see that all your traffic is going. If I have a VPN, the same is going to happen. Same, I can see the traffic is going from this place to that place, from this is happening, this is happening. But what's the thing about the VPN? Everything is encrypted. So even if I get the data, I cannot read it because it's gibberish. It's written in a language that we cannot understand, we cannot crack it, we cannot do anything. So this is a very, very good solution to implement a VPN. So it will keep you very, very protected. And one more extra thing, and I think this is the last thing that I would like to mention, is to put a strong Wi-Fi network password, because as I said from the first 3 parts of the course, is that this method of hacking, this attack especially starts from Wi-Fi hacking. So first the hacker manages to hack the Wi-Fi, then he or she gets inside your network and performs the man-in-the-middle attack. So if you put a strong security on your Wi-Fi, strong secure password, and you do not allow any person you do not know personally, or you do not know the manners and the thoughts of that person, you do not allow them to connect to your network, you will be totally safe. So there is three solutions so far we covered: the VPN, strong Wi-Fi password, and the XARP. And there are many tools, it's not limited only to XARP. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the course. I hope you got benefit from this course. Oh, again, someone is hacking us. Yeah, this is not me, guys. I don't know who is it. I'm going to know about it. Thank you very much. I hope you will do the right thing with the things I taught you. See you guys.